Welcome to Intermediate Blending, a follow-up series to Beginning to Blend. I'm JoRaSe, your host for this series, just like the last. Now, let's delve in and begin. Moving on to the next vase model. This is the one we did last time. And this time we're going to work on this one, which doesn't look all that great if we're in textured mode without a texture. So let's start up screencast keys before I forget and switch into solid mode. That looks much better. So we're going to go about putting in our seams for the UV editor. Make sure we have it selected before we hit tab. And it's always easiest to do if we're in edge select mode. So let's switch over to that. And we're going to start here and just carry it down. So like that, and then we want to put in our halfway divider. And like last time, we'll go ahead and do it all the way. We can now mark these edges as seams. So let's do that. And we should be ready to unwrap it. So let's do that. And here we have our UV map and our previous texture that we need to not use for this one. So we're going to click this X down here. And now we're back to the grid. So we want to do what we did last time, grab these. Just move them up to where it's easier to work with. And now we're going to need to flip on the y-axis, so that's going to be Control M and Y. And then if we just slide it up a little bit, there we go. And one thing that we could have done last time, but I, for whatever reason, forgot, was we can flip it on the X as well, and that will make it look a bit more in line with what it should be. So now we just want to flatten all these out on the Y. So that's S, Y, and 0. Grab the next one. S, Y, 0. And finally the last one. S, Y, and 0 on the keyboard. And now we're going to do that same action on the x-axis. So that's going to be S, X, 0. S, X, 0. And remember, if you're ever not sure what's going on, that's what the screencast key little display is over here. That's what that's all for. So when I hit S, there you get it on the screencast. hit the X. Okay, so that doesn't show. I thought it did. Learn something every day. But I guess it does show you down here at the, right down here at this part of the screen where it's telling you along what axis. So on the x-axis, we want it to go 0. And last one. And there we go. Now we can scale this up a fair amount. And we can go ahead and pin it. Now, we need to get the next portion, which is going to be these little overhangs. The easiest way to do that is to go into face select mode, deselect everything on the model, and select all the faces in that row using the Shift key, the Alt key, and clicking on the edge, like so. So that gives us that one. Also need to get this one. So just do the same thing. And there we go. This one might have been hard to figure out. All we're going to do with these is line them up together. And I like to have one set of edges lined up and then flip it. So this is going to be flipped on the Y. And then we can just drag it down on the Y. Now that we've got the one done, we can do the second. Probably need to switch to face selection mode in the UV editor. And we're just going to line that up again. Flip it on the Y. And then pull it up on the Y. Now drag these and line them up on this one. And flip this on the Y and drag it down on the Y. And it may seem odd that it's not lining up perfectly, but that's because the actual model one is larger than the other. And so you're going to see that reflected in the UV map. So just get it underneath like this. That'll be good enough. And we can pin this. Let's go ahead and put it up in the texture map. By selecting everything, it shows the UV map coordinates again. For the parts we've already moved in. So this, we're just going to move it over here. And now we need this, didn't mean to do that. We need this golden part. So for that, we're going to do what we did before and just select it like so. That gives us both pieces. We can grab the top one, flip it on the Y, and just drag it down. And it would look like I got a bit too happy when putting in seams, but that's okay. We just fix that like we did before. Mirror on the Y and move it on the Y. So put that one there. Didn't mean to grab that one, meant to grab that one. Mirror on the Y and pull it down on the Y. And we'll just put it right there. Now let's unhide everything else. And we'll put this right here. And that just leaves the rest of the body of the vase. So we can scale that down and just drag it up and in and pin it. Now time to export the UV layout. So go to UVs, up to Export UV Layout at the top. And we want to go to the texture folder. And we're going to label this LODB. Like so. Make sure all UVs are checked. And export UV layout. Now, time to go into the Inkscape program. So let's fire Inkscape up. It'll take a moment or two. There we go. And let's open recent. We can get the starter texture file opened that way. And then open up the one in the file that we just created, which shows up on the other screen. Hold on a second while I move it over. And there we go. Now, if you've done like we did before and opened the SVG version of the file, we can just copy stuff. So let's grab the pattern and copy it and move it over to the other file. Thought I had that all grouped. Let me try this again. Okay, apparently I did not have it all grouped. Let's do that right quick. There we go. Now copy it and paste it over. There we go. Zoom in a bit. And we want to bring the opacity down to about 70 something. It gives you enough of a transparency effect to see through. So just stretch it out like so. And we'll pull this in a bit. There we go. Up on the, just a little bit this way as well. There. Okay, now for the gold sections, that pasted in. Oh, almost forgot to fix the opacity back up. So paste this in, and this one's going to go right here. And then we're going to add in just a block to cover this portion, which we're going to color. Let's see, we've got blue and purple. So let's go something kind of in between. Maybe this. That's a bit bright. How about that? Looks good. Okay. And we need to deal with the line. So we're going to use these values to replace the line as well. So that's 111 for both red and green and 145 for blue. So we said 111 for red and green and 145 for blue. And we need to adjust this to a lighter gold color and something in this region. So 146 on the green should do it. There we go. And lastly is the red portion. So we'll just copy that from the other file, paste it in, and stretch it out. And it looked like there was a bit missing from up in here. So we're just going to paste another block in, move it up to where it's covering whatever wouldn't be covered. And we'll just scale it over or pull it over as well. Now we can group these to make it easier to work with. And the red needs to be darker, doesn't it? So something around like that. So that's 140. Go to the other, the stroke color options and put 140 in, and there we go. It's not the right file, is it? Let's try it on the right one. Oh, that's wonderful, because we've got this one to pull information off of. A lot of it is improvising and making things work, so we need 140, 0, and 0 on both stroke and fill. 140, not 1400. Try that again. There we go. Okay, so now we've got our second texture map. We can go ahead and save it and go back into Blender, and we want to open the image. And it's going to be in textures, and it's LODB. And like last time, we're not going to see anything until we switch from solid to textured mode. So we switch, and there it is. Looks kind of bad without a light, though. So let's come over here and grab this light and move it over to the other layer. And there we go. Now, if you're wondering why in the little title screen for the video. Last time and this time it looked a little bit different. That's because I applied the smooth shader, which I'll do here. Just apply it, and it makes it look a fair amount better. But the way to make it even better is to add in some smoothing edges. And those need to be pretty much wherever we put in a seam, except for the sides there. So we will go in and do that. And you'll see the change. I'm going to put some here because generally you want smoothing edges wherever there's a flat surface. So that's should be it. Need one on the bottom, of course. That wasn't expected. I flipped it over to the other screen. The Z key is a good toggle for the shading options. So that's what I just did there. Okay, now we want to mark these as sharp edges using the Control and E keys to pull up the edges submenu, and going down to mark sharp. Now that they are marked sharp, if we look at textured view, it didn't really change anything, did it? That's because we've got to come over to the little wrench here on the right and add in a modifier. And we want the edge split modifier. And you can see that already did a good deal. But we don't want edge angle. We just want sharp edges. Sometimes that will cause a difference, other times it won't. But I've just gotten in the habit of doing it anyway. But there you have another textured vase model. This one higher detail and higher polygon count. That's all for this session of Polygonal Art with JoRaSe. If you enjoyed what you saw, how about giving this video a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on future videos from me. In the video description below, you'll find my Patreon link. Feel free to check it out. Now, on to the credits.